But let me ask you this question. This is my opinion, Janice. And again, I'm so sorry for what you and your family have had to go through. My opinion is I think this was a failing across the board, from the top all the way down. I think our politicians in general, both left and right, top to bottom, have not done a good job in handling this pandemic. I think it's why you see so many people that have lost their lives, sadly, 170,000 people. Would you agree with that? And I'm not just talking about Cuomo. I agree with you on that, obviously. I think across the board, this has been a failing, Republican and Democrat. I think there have been a lot of mistakes that have been made, and I think it's inexcusable where you see where we are right now as a country as being the richest, wealthiest country in the world.
There's a lot of blame to go around, certainly, but the U.S. isn't the only, place that's going through this. Europe was doing well and now is, has a resurgence of the virus. So I think, in hindsight, we're not there yet. We can't, I hope that when we get past this, we can go back and look at what we did wrong and improve and try to, see who went wrong. There is plenty of blame to go around. But what I know is in my state, my governor made mistakes, and I need to see him getting some kind of accountability for the mistakes he made. At the very beginning, had he said, listen, my hair was on fire. I tried to make sure that there was enough hospital beds. We thought we were going to have so many deaths. I did what I could. I made a mistake. You and I wouldn't be having this conversation. I actually would have accepted that and moved on.
That's interesting to me. You're a very forgiving person. So you're telling me that if he just said, look, I screwed up, you just want him to admit that he made some mistakes. Sounds like to me.
At the very beginning, he actually said, if you have a problem with something that I've done as your governor, then you blame me. The buck stops at my desk.
And
had he made that, made good on that promise, and come out and said, I made some terrible mistakes. I am deeply sorry. Right. I don't believe he wanted to kill anybody purposely.
Right.
But the fact that he shirks responsibility, any kind of responsibility, and continues to blame everyone and anything for the mistakes that he made, makes our grief worse.
I don't disagree with you. And by the way, you just posted something on Twitter. I want to read it because I agree with you on that. You said Governor Cuomo should be writing condolence cards, not a book. We just posted an article on our Twitter page if people want to read it. And your new book, by the way, I wanted to mention that as well, just coming out, called Mostly Sunny. I agree with your tweet there. I think what is your husband, what's going through his mind when he heard that Governor Cuomo was writing a book? I mean, I can't even imagine.
Well, I think we're used to this governor's arrogance, and I think he's very tone deaf. And there's a lot of gaslighting going on from many people. Listen,
right.
Like I said, there's plenty of blame to go around, and hopefully we can have a 9/11 style commission on this whole event once it's done and over with. But his arrogance and the fact that he won't own up to anything and just continues to do these gross things like publish a book in the middle of a pandemic. It's just, it's just another example that this guy really thinks he can't do wrong at all.
Yeah, I hope the title of the book is "This Is Me Gaslighting You" or trying to gaslight you. So
well, listen, I think there is bipartisan support, and people think that this is kind of a bad timing on his part.
Well, and that's a good thing in a state like New York. So when you look at the other states that, Pennsylvania was one, Massachusetts was one, I believe Illinois, New Jersey, and California were the other states where they forced hospitals. Michigan, I'm sorry, where they forced, all Democratic states, don't know why, but where they forced hospitals, except Massachusetts, but they forced hospitals to take in patients forced nursing homes to take in patients from hospitals. Have you had anyone reach out from any of those states and kind of share a story similar to what happened to your in-laws?
Absolutely. And I think because I'm so vocal on social media, I've been hearing from people that have experienced the same thing. There's one thing that brings us together is people who have gone through the same kind of experience. And especially, you brought up some of the protests were going on. I mean, listen, it was very hard because we could not go to funerals, and yet we're seeing peaceful protests, quote unquote, with thousands of people gathering, and that was okay. So there are multiple things that are going on in the country that makes it very hard to grieve and makes our grieving even, more felt. heartfelt.
Sure. No, understood. I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about your book, Mostly Sunny. I would imagine it talks a lot about your career and being a meteorologist over the years, and of course now on Fox and Friends. Talk a little bit about this book and where people can find it.
You can find it anywhere. It's on Amazon. It actually came out a year ago. Listen, if I was about to release it, obviously there would be another chapter on coronavirus and the extreme tragedy that we've been through as a family. But as a whole, it's about my life and the things that I have gone through in my 50 years on this planet. And some of the hardest times have given me the most valuable lessons. So I believe the things that you go through in life, even though you're going through a storm at the time, there is always a purpose for that. So, the things that we are going through as a family and as a country and as citizens, I hope and I believe at the end of the tunnel, there will be lessons learned from this. So along with the things that I've experienced in my career, I certainly talk about that, but I was also diagnosed 15 years ago with multiple sclerosis and the battle I've had to deal with that. But you know what? At the end of the day, I feel great gratitude for the family that I have and the experiences that have gotten me to the place that I am today. So that's really what the book is all about.
Well, Janice, it sounds like you have a wonderful family and a very strong family. And again, my thoughts and prayers for the loss that your family's had to go through with your in-laws. It's just absolutely horrible. But I am glad that you are a voice and you are telling your story. It's very important to hold politicians accountable no matter what side of the aisle they're on. And I am so glad you are doing that. Thank you for answering our questions and talking a little bit about your book as well. We appreciate you, Janice. Thank you so much for coming on, and always look forward to hearing that weather every morning on Fox and Friends. You do a great job, Janice. You really do. And we appreciate you.
Stay cool.
Thank you.
Cool, my friend.
We'll try. We'll try. Okay.
That's very punny.
Thanks, Janice. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Janice.
Have a good one. That's Janice Dean, meteorologist on Fox and Friends. Really inspirational story. I was totally unaware that she was going through those health problems.